Hi there. So we have a meeting. Yay, hooray. Okay. So actually, I know you have spotty internet at home, so thank you for getting us all going here. So I do see, of course, that we have not a quorum, but we do have 3 people, and I think we might as well get going. And if we get a 4th, then we'll have a quorum and we'll call it official, but otherwise we'll go over the topics that I do have so far. So welcome everybody. I sent the agenda out. We won't approve it because we don't have a quorum, but we'll review it. And I'm going to go, let me go put this full screen here. And I will share my screen. So thank you all for being here. So I'm not sure whether we have Dave. I left him a voicemail. And oh yeah, so she says she's not by the computer. Let me just check and see. Text if you need anything. Okay. So anyway, we'll go to the agenda, and I am sharing. There we go. So I've had a crazy time, lots of meetings, and I did not get the minutes done from our last meeting. So it's on my list of things to be sent. So that's kind of that. The main topic was going to be the status of the laws in progress. We will run over the other things quickly. The wireless, so status of laws in progress, the water supply protection is the main thing. That's the main event for this meeting. Is I saw Ed's had spoken to Steve Winkley and sent us a map. So I want to get that law moved along with its map. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Regulating wireless, where we are with the I call it Ed drafted the law. We all own it, but Ed drafted it anyway. So where we are with the telecommunications law is it of course came, went from us to the town board, went from the town board to the planning board. The planning board, as you may recall, came back with one comment, which was, does it follow the law? Well, yeah, it does follow the law. So that was their only comment. So we only had the one comment from the planning board. So then there was a proposal by that Steve Romine had shared with us with an unnamed benefactor who would pay for Mr. Andrew Campanelli. David, yay, we have David. Hi, David, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yay, okay. Well, we have a quorum officially, so I'm going to officially call the meeting to order. At 6:40, call to order. And I'm going through the agenda. So what happened since we last talked is the town board did meet and reviewed, what day was that? Anyway, the town board did meet and reviewed, Andrew Campanelli came to speak. And the town board, then I brought a resolution to the town board to say, we should co-hire him because we had the recommendation from Steve Romine that we have some unnamed benefactor who would co-hire him. So the plan was, and the town board, and we said one of the stipulations was we need to know who we're hiring him with. And Steve Romine came forward in that meeting, said it's him personally. So it's not a mystery person. Now we know the name of the person, which is one of the things that this committee had said, we should know the name of the person. So the name of the person.
Steve Romine himself paid for Mr. Campanelli?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, lots of thousands of dollars at this point. But yes, he did. And so the plan is that the town and Steve Romine will co-pay for Andrew Campanelli to review Ed, the law that you drafted, that we all reviewed, and it's our official town copy of the law. So Mr. Campanelli is going to review that. And I stipulated that he needs to give us a marked up copy back, not just a letter saying, oh, this, and this, but give us the markup. You think things ought to be changed in it, give us a marked up copy. So the resolution the town board passed was we're going to get a marked up copy from Andrew Campanelli. And the plan is then, as we may recall, we're not meeting the second Monday in August. We're taking that Monday off, and we're going to meet on the 23rd. Our next meeting after tonight is the 23rd. What I have done, because Steve Romine has really invested quite a bit of money in this.
Why is Steve Romine sitting at the table with us to to look over Campanelli's. I find Steve Romine to be very rude and very creepy. And
Well,
I don't think we should review. I like Mr. Campanelli. He's got a sharp mind and he's a good writer. I've read laws that he's written for other states and other towns. So I like Mr. Campanelli, but I don't see why Steve Romine, who's just a brusque, crude bully, should be allowed to weigh in. I mean, he's an unsecured cannon.
well, so here's what I believe. And I use the chair's right because our meeting protocol says the chair is the chair's option to call on people. So I use that, and perhaps I extended it more than you would have liked me to. However, the reason why I believe it's best in the long run to do this is because Steve, well, first of all, it's going to be, my plan is that our meeting on August 23rd is going to be a work session. So it'll be a work session for the sole purpose of, so we'll get these documents. The belief is, so I've already been told that Andrew Campanelli has what he needs to begin. So Bill McKenna had reached out to say, yes, we're going to have this letter of agreement or whatever, that the town is hiring you. So there's an official statement that says, whatever the right term is, the official statement, the town is hiring Andrew Campanelli. He's got the document, and so he'll be passing the document. So we'll be, and we think the turnaround time is 3 weeks. So, although I want to put one note to myself here. Okay, so the reason why, because Steve is heavily involved. He's paid, he said at the town.
What does he know about actual writing of text of a telecommunications law? I see no indication in the many letters I've seen him write that he has any skill at writing complex telecommunication law text.
Correct. And
Campanelli does. And I'm not sure that you can go ahead and have this meeting. I don't think that I'm going to attend a meeting regarding the text that Mr. Campanelli puts together with Steve Romine able to butt in and argue and bully all the way through. I'm not going to be here for that.
Well, so anyway, I'm not, you're an independent thinker, and you can make your own decision on that. The reason why I believe that it will get us to the end game the fastest to do this, and I don't, I've been in leadership positions, as I think you've probably heard me say before. I've been in leadership positions, I would say, since 1986, right? That was my first management position with my company, was 1986. I've been a project manager, I've been a manager, I've run meetings, I've run a lot of meetings for many years. So if Steve is not constructive, I expect to speak up. My vision of this meeting is that it will be a matter of, here is Andrew Campanelli's marked up copy. We'll look at each item. I made it clear in the resolution the town board passed that the town board is the final say, because Steve was upset about that. And what he did say, I will say, at the town board meeting, I didn't hear him totally. I heard him either say so far he's paid 7 or 11,000. I'm not sure which my ear, I don't want to ask again, but he said it in the open room. So in any event, I heard either 7 or 11, but it's not like he threw out a couple of bucks. He's heavily invested in this. He believes it strongly. I agree with you. I haven't seen evidence of him writing any law, but that's not the point. The point is we're looking at what Andrew Campanelli has written as law. And before we as the zoning revision committee agree to adopt each piece of that, before we go to the town board and say, yes, here's our law consolidated with what Andrew Campanelli said, we're all going to be looking at it. Steve is going to be looking at it. And I believe it will be best in the long run to look at it in the same session, because if we as a zoning revision committee say this or that, Andrew Campanelli says it, but we're not going to go with it, Steve will have a chance to say right there, he can either make a case that it ought to be kept or he won't. So I'd like to be making decisions point by point as we go through the document. And at the end of that meeting, which again, I see as a work session, we will have a final document that we as a zoning revision committee agree to, and that Steve also agrees to, because I think that then this document, once we all agree and Steve agrees, then I believe we're going to have a document that has smooth sailing to the end. So I believe having Steve involved now is what will give us a smoothest end game for this document. I think Ed, you did a great job on it, and that's why I required, instead of we get some email with whatever we get from Steve Winkley, a marked up copy of it. So as we look up the marked up copy, we'll look at it line by line, and either we'll say, if we agree to everything Andrew Campanelli says, I expect Steve will be 100% happy and it'll be a short meeting. If there are pieces where we think that whatever Andrew Campanelli said ought to be reworded or reworked, or we have some reason we just don't think it's right, then I expect to have a constructive, positive discussion at the table. If anybody is not constructive and if anybody is not positive, I will stop them. And you've all seen me do that before on this call. We had guests on this call that were not constructive and not positive, and I stepped up and said, you're being disrespectful, and they quit. So I will definitely do that again. Ed, I will not make you, I'm not going to try to make you be there. I mean, you're an adult, you make your own decisions. If you're not there, then I will just get with you offline.
Well,
So,
listen, he got this, the town board on July 13th passed a resolution to co-hire at Campanelli, and he has a 3-week turnaround time. So that makes it like August 4th. So if we have the document of Mr. Campanelli writes in the first week of August, then I will have a chance to have 2 weeks to look at this in detail and see how it meshes with there's many good things. I mean, even some of Romine's crew has approved of a good number of the sections of the law that I and Dave created. So I just want to have like 2 weeks to go to the, I go through it line by line and see where Mr. Campanelli's text improves the flow of sections in our current version. And if by the 23rd, when is this meeting? 23rd.
Our next meeting is the 23rd. I can't say the 3 weeks started on July 13th. That's the day the town agreed to hire Campanelli. I don't know exactly what day he had everything he needed to start. So I wouldn't say the clock started July 13th.
Then you should reach out to Mr. Campanelli.
Yes.
Romine is not the key person now. Campanelli is. And you should reach out to Mr. Campanelli and find out when he will submit to the Woodstock Town Board his comments and text on the telecommunications section. And then if we get a date when he might do this, say by August 10th,
right,
that would have 13 days that I could examine this thing in great detail. I'm busy writing a new book, but I will set aside time for writing my new book to go over this law with a fine-tooth comb. But I need to have at least 10 days prior to our August 23rd meeting.
I will reach out and I will ask Andrew Campanelli. I will do exactly that. So I will do it because I'm not sure when the 3-week clock started or whether he needs the whole 3 weeks. So I will reach out personally. And now that all the formal reaching out has happened and he's engaged, I will reach out personally and just ask him for a target date. So that sounds good. And again, I believe, well, I hear what you're saying. I have, taken liberty of the chair. I've already invited Steve Romine to sit at the table. If anybody is not constructive, if anybody is not helpful, I think the only case will be, the only time there'll be any discussion, I think, and I've been through a lot of document reviews. Again, I'm a professional project manager. I've been through plenty of document reviews, plenty of reviews of this and that. The plan is we start at the beginning of the document, look at each change. And if everybody says, oh yeah, I agree, or if people start out the meeting saying, I agree with everything Andrew Campanelli says, if everybody says that, we're done. We reviewed the whole document without looking at anything. So the only case where there's going to be conversation will be if Andrew Campanelli recommends something, and if we don't agree and Steve does agree, but the whole point is to have a discussion and to have a conversation that is where we're all rowing the boat in the same direction, and we just want to get the law right. And I think Steve deserves to, anyway, I think it can work. I strongly believe it can work to have him at the table for this conversation, because I tend to look for the facts. If somebody can be screaming at me, but if they're not making sense, they're still not making sense. It doesn't matter how loud they scream. So I'm planning to listen to what the value each person brings to the table with what they say about each thing. Everything Andrew Campanelli recommends, will go through each thing, and people will bring whatever value they have to the table about why they think it should be this way, that way. The only voting members of the table are actually the zoning revision committee. We're the only voting members at the table, but I want Steve to be welcome to speak as we review each thing and weigh in. If he disagrees with what we're saying, give him a chance to weigh in before we vote, and we'll kind of vote on each thing one by one. Anytime that there's any disagreement, we'll have a discussion. We'll listen to what everybody has to say, including Steve, and then we as a zoning revision committee will make a decision, lock that in, and we'll move on to the next thing.
A lot of it will depend on the structure of the document that Mr. Campanelli submits.
Yes.
He might submit, for instance, a complete update to our entire 40-some page telecommunications law draft that exists. That's fine. Or he might have a separate document that with paragraphs that point to sections of the current 40-some page document. That's going to be another situation. So we need, the structure of our meeting will depend on what kind of document that Mr. Campanelli submits.
I agree.
That might be good for you to find that out too. In other words, in what format will be his submission? Will it be follow our current draft section by section, or will it be how will he structure it? That should be important to find out so that we can know how to prepare.
Yeah. Well, the reason why the law wording said it needs to be a markup is, the idea is not that he's going to throw what you did out and replace it with a whole new different thing. I mean, the idea is it is in fact a markup. So that's my expectation. So I will verify that, because you and Dave, I know Dave did research and you did the writing, but between you and Dave, it was researched and written. So it was written with, with a lot of good thought. So I'm hoping he doesn't give us throw the whole thing out and do a brand new. I'm hoping that's not what he does, because my belief is he's going to give a markup, but you're right. I should ask him.
I don't care what he does, as long as he submits a point by point. The structure we have now is a good structure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It has large towers at the first section and small wireless facilities as the second section of the revision. And that is a logical way to do it. It allows some of our current language more or less to stay in place, large towers, and then has a large section as part 2 for small wireless facilities, which include 5G, 4G, 3G, 2G.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a good format. But if he's going to change it, I don't care how he does it, as long as he submits a cogent, understandable set of paragraphs. I can do with anything he does, as long as he does it in a logical and uh, straightforward documentation.
Mhm.
But you have to find out in what format he intends to submit his comments.
Yes, okay.
Excuse me, I have a question. Is he going to look at the document that Ed did?
Well, yes, and in fact, the other thing that I should do is I should actually send him my copy to make sure he is actually using our copy. So
Right.
that's another thing I will actually do is I will send AC my copy to make sure it is the current thing. So because that's another error,
Because
things could be lost.
everything he commented on was the existing law.
Well,
So, that the original law.
exactly, and so I will send him a copy of what we have sent around, that Dave, that you and Ed worked on. I will personally send him that. Yeah, yeah. So I will do that. So okay, all right. So I know there's a little bit of unease, I guess, is that a word? A little bit of uneasiness about how this is going to flow. I believe it can work, but I agree I should get those answers, Ed, and I will do that. So, okay, so we're going to be going back to water supply protection. We're just going through what else is on the agenda here. Did want to give a quick update. Our Housing Oversight Task Force is alive and well, had its second meeting. We have the members, same as I showed last time we all met, showed you who's on that. Along with Nan Stolzenberg. And so just to make a long story short, so far, we have members discussing concerns and focus areas. We're kind of starting off with a lot of information sharing and ideas sharing amongst the group. So there is nothing yet that is anything solid or concrete to be shared beyond the group. So the group is starting at the beginning, as you would expect with a group that has a large expanse of, a broad responsibility area. So in any event, the Housing Oversight Task Force is beginning. And I think, we do have 3 members from this committee, but Michael, I think, really is there on that task force to be the the ZBA. So I think Michael is there as the ZBA rep, and then Jeff and I are really there as the members of this committee. So when we have things to share, we'll certainly share it. We're still in the forming stages of the group and solidifying direction and whatnot. It's still a lot of ideas floating so far as nothing concrete to share, but we will, as there is things to be shared, we'll definitely do that. And the building permit moratorium was approved by the town board at our July 20th meeting. So that's good. So do I have a motion to adopt the agenda, which we've just gone through?
Sure, I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Dave. I'll second. All in favor, and we have Jeff leaving the room here. so all in favor, aye for the agenda. Aye, thank you. So we have it. It passes. Okay. Okay. So we've addressed everything on the agenda except for the water supply protection. So thank you, Ed. Thank you very much and I'll go ahead and share my screen on this if I can find it. Where is it? Okay. Zoom, there we go. Okay. So Ed, and thank you very much, Ed. So Ed has, Ed got with Steve Winkley, and this is a map. I know that the planning board was not totally happy with the plan. I know one of the things when I was part of the group back in the beginning phases when Jay Wenk was running it and Steve Winkley was there, and so was Ed and some other people, we did make the decision to draw the line around property boundaries so that if something was in the protection overlay, somebody would know for their whole property they had to follow whatever. And it wasn't like, oh, where exactly is the line? Well, where exactly the line is the property line. So something either got included or didn't get included and just included the property line. It looks like that may not be true for a couple of things down lower, but it's true for most of the properties on here. So anyway, that's that. The map looks great. So Ed, in terms of formality of how to proceed, so the one thing, I know the one point of discussion was maybe should have a map delineating, you found the map. Do we just now send the law with the map, or is the map become an addendum to the law?
No,
What do we,
This map is described in the text of the law. And it says that it should be posted in a prominent place in the town offices. And since every property within the district is, the property number is listed. And if they do this I think is a 22 by 36 inch map. So if it's blown up, people will be able to see exactly if their property is within the district, because every property has its lot number on the map.
right?
So that does, every property has its
Mhm.
lot number. And it will therefore, do away with the issue of, is my property in the aquifer, in the wellhead protection overlay?
Mhm. Right, so, and I'm gonna see if I can zoom out and see how big this map is.
Well, no, that's not the map. Well, yeah, there's I'm pretty sure I can get it. It's 22 or 20. I don't know. It's on my computer, but
This is what I thought,
it's a lot.
this is what I thought you sent. Wellhead protection high res map.
Well,
Which
that's one of them. Yeah,
oh, so you sent a second one?
I sent two. Yeah, one that I scanned one. I have a very good scanner, and so
Okay.
I scanned it at a very high resolution, and then
Mhm.
I really darkened the lot numbers so they were able to be seen very easily. But
Okay.
the one Winkley was a PDF of 2.3 meg, I think. So it was a really high res, and I think it's original. It can be blown up to like 36 by 24 or something, so that the lot numbers are very clear.
Did you send me, because the only thing, when I do a search on your name, and I'm having a lot of trouble with this email, because this email, people sometimes do send me things and they don't show up at all. And then somebody responds to their email and I see their response. And then I go back and say, where's the original? I don't get it. So this email is problematic. However, where would I look for, did you send the other one?
I sent two. I sent mine, and I sent the one that Steve Winkley sent today. He sent a nice letter and thanked us for keeping the issue alive.
So here's my question though, so the email you sent today has the one I just showed.
And another one has a larger one you just showed.
I believe you. The one I just showed is this one in this email you sent today at 12:30. That's the map I showed. So where is the other map that you're referring to?
Well, I can send it again.
Okay, perfect.
I'll send you the Mr. Winkley's res. It's 2.3 meg. It's a high res JPEG, and it should withstand blowing up to 30 inches by 40 inches.
Okay.
People will know exactly if their property's in the wellhead protection overlay.
Okay. So are you sending that to me as we speak?
I can, but I would, yes, I can.
Well, my hope is to leave this meeting knowing exactly what we need to do to move this law to its next step, and knowing the right map to be referencing is critical to that.
All right. Well, I have to get out of, I have to.
Did you leave the meeting? No.
I have something from you on my screen hogging everything. I can't. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I can get it. All right.
I'm gonna sit here and watch until it comes in. Do you want me to stop sharing? Maybe I should stop sharing.
No, I don't mind doing that. I've got the correct. I just have to get to Steve Winkley's email. I get a lot, like you, I get a lot of traffic every day.
Yep.
Something's weird here. All right. No. All right, just a minute. There. Okay, now. Well, it's from Steve Winkley. Yeah, here it is.
Yay.
All right, I'll send it to you. It should be there.
Okay, let me go take a look. Yes, let me do a refresh here. Well, it's not there yet. So while I'm waiting for it to turn up, and I have confidence that it will. Oh, yes, perfect, perfect. Okay, that's the same one. Sorry. Wellhead overlay protection map. What you just sent me is the same one that I had before.
Well, then you had the right one. I gave you two.
I believe you that you gave me two, except for the fact what you just sent me does not have anything forwarded from Steve Winkley. If you meant to send me something forwarded from Steve Winkley, I didn't get anything forwarded from Steve Winkley.
Says attached is a higher resolution version of the map I produced several years ago. And it's on the bottom. I just scanned it. I mean, I just copied the scan and sent it to you as Winkley sent it to me today.
I believe you. However, if you...
And it was what he's attached to the end of his email letter he sent today.
Okay, this is July 26, 7:08 p.m. And here's what just came. Here's what you would have just sent, 7:08 p.m. And it has nothing here. You can see it. It has nothing here except for this map. It doesn't have anything forward.
1.2 meg. That's it.
Correct. Okay. But I thought you said you were forwarding something. So that's okay. So I will download and I will look at it, and it's going to be the same thing.
That's what Steve Winkley of the New York Water
okay.
Sent me.
So this is the same thing that I sent around. It's the same thing we looked at a second ago. So just so that I'm clear. So what we're saying is that there's no change needed because the law, and I'm flipping around here.
It is described in the law that there's a map listing the property line numbers.
Right. So I have here in the agenda, I have what are the steps the laws are taking? Here's the water supply protection law. And oh, by the way, law number 2 wound up being the moratorium. So we're going to be renaming the other one probably to law number 4. But anyway, it'll be whatever law number it gets passed. But in any event, law number 3, water supply protection, town board, voters sent to planning board, they got it. We're discussing it tonight, map to be included. And then we said that the next step is they'll go to the county planning board, then public hearing, then becomes law. So my goal tonight is for me to know what actions I have to take to get this law going to the next step, which is send it to the county. So if the answer is we just provide this, so we're saying that we're not going to provide this map as an appendix. It's not going to be in the law text, because as you said before, the law says we're going to keep a copy of this like 2 feet by 3 feet or thereabouts. There'll be this large copy in the town offices, and that's what people reference as something in the town offices.
They can make copies. They can make copies of the map. If anybody, any homeowner wants to know, you could have a copy of it made.
But can we say, we can post it on the town website? There are other maps posted on the town website. So maybe that's the answer, is that we post it on the town website.
Yeah.
Okay. So post map on town website. And so then the final thing is going to be, if I look at zoning law number 3, which is 11 pages. It'll take me forever to find out where it says it's going to be kept, but we may need to change words that just say it'll be available online. In addition, you don't recall exactly where it was.
It's been a long time. This is from 5 years ago. But it doesn't say it's going to be online. It says it will be available at the town offices.
Okay.
Why don't you just look for the word map?
There's a smart idea. That's why I like working with smart people. Let me do a find. Where the heck is find? Let me just pull this over here. Okay.
Control F usually works to find on these things.
Oh, I didn't catch what you said, Jeff.
Control F is usually find on Windows.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Said map shall be kept up to date, and we found it right away. Good job. So, okay, said map shall be kept up to date, shall be maintained in the office of the town clerk for the use and benefit of the public. Okay, so we have the map. So I'll send the map as a separate file then. Post map on the, okay, so see section, it's page 3. Okay. Page 3, which is actually, now this is kind of weird. It's got like an E as follows. Okay, gotcha. All right, so page 3, which is update to 268E. Okay, so I think that I know what I can do now. So to send this along, what I can say is our committee has looked at this. The only recommendation that was made, I believe, from the planning board was that we ought to have a map. We have a map, so there's no wording needed. No wording needs to be changed in the law. There's nothing that says we can't put it on the town website. The clerk can have copies of it to hand out. And it doesn't actually even say that it has to be on the wall, but the clerk has copies to hand out, and it can probably go on the town website. Nothing says it can't go on the town website, just says the clerk has to have it. So I believe that by me passing the law, but by me forwarding the law and saying, here's the map that goes with the law that the town clerk will maintain and can go on the town website, is it fair to say that we as a zoning revision committee believe that this law is ready now to go to the planning board, because we've solved what the county planning board, because we've solved what the town planning board said. It needs a map, got the map, no wording needs to change, good to go.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Dave, do you agree that this is ready to be sent to the county, ready to go to the next step?
I
Oh.
agree.
I agree. Jeff, any disagreement? Yay. So
Good.
all ZRC unanimous. A law ready for next step. Hooray. Excellent. So I feel like we're, you know, some people have complained, but I don't pay a lot of attention. I don't really take that to heart, really, that, oh, we're not doing 5 things at once or whatever we're doing at once. We're getting, in my view, we are doing the job we're here at Mission to do, because moving this law along is what we're doing. We're going to spend time in our next meeting to move the telecommunications law along, because going from step 2 to step 3 is where we need to go. Step 2 is in the town. Step 3 is going beyond the town to the county. So this law is ready to go to step 3, which is excellent. My goal is in August, the telecommunications law will be ready to go to step 3, which is excellent. We listed housing as a top priority, but we have our committee, you know, we are involved in that oversight committee, which is where a lot of the housing zoning, you know, so there's an action in place there. And then we'll worry at the next meeting about what we pick up next, right? Because the housing is part of that oversight committee. A lot of work being done there, and then we can pick what we want to do next. I know we talked about doing zoning overlay, but I know that Connor, he hasn't yet said that he's can refocus here because he has things he's focused on right now, which happens in people's lives. So we'll just pick what the next thing is, but we'll pick at our next meeting, we'll pick what's next on the list for us to focus on. Because my hope is that at our next meeting, August 23rd, that we will then say, yes, we're ready to send the telecommunications law from us. If there's a lot of changes, then it probably has to go backwards in the process and go back to the planning board before it can move forward. But we'll have to see how many changes it has and whether we think it has to go backwards before it goes forward, or maybe it can go forward and go to them at the same time. So we'll play that by ear when we see what we get on August 23rd. And Ed, I do thank you for, you know, sharing your concerns, and I will see what I can find out from Andrew Campanelli along the lines of, you know, your questions, and thank you for saying that if you have 2 weeks that you can do that you'll be able to review what he gives us. So that's excellent news, and the hope is we get something that everybody is comfortable with, and then it just is very smooth in its final, you know, in its next steps. So let's see how that goes. That was what I had hoped to accomplish at this meeting. Anybody have anything else that you would like to cover?
Nope.
Okay, but our next meeting is August 23rd. No meeting the second Monday of August. Anybody else have anything else that you want? I heard a no from David. Anything for anybody else? Any motion to adjourn?
I motion.
Oh, that was Ed. All right. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Yay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. So good, significant milestone today, moving one law from one phase to one step to the next. Very good news, and irons in the fire on other stuff. So we're moving forward. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you all later.
Yep. Take care.